Welcome to the place where the takes are hot and the facts are optional. Where logic takes a back seat and the changes are unstoppable. It's the show that starts nowhere and still gets everywhere. So buckle up, lean in, don't try to keep control. You're now tuned in to the kings of the rebel roll. You're now tuned in to the kings of the rebel roll. The rebel roll.
Welcome into another edition of the Ramble Authority, the show that starts nowhere and goes absolutely everywhere. I'm Jay, he's Alan, here to break it all down and talk about some good random topics this week. Alan, how you been? How are things going?
Things are going well, just cruising through the summertime, and I saw somebody post fall's only so many days away, and I said, fall doesn't start until like December here.
Yeah, well, that's one thing about the Carolinas. We do get all four seasons and we do get nice fall. So mid-October, leaves change. It's nice and crisp, which will be perfect because I'll be in the throes of marathon training and we'll really appreciate it. Because right now it's a rough time out here on these roads. But I'm
You're
going to
just
get
a
us
glutton
started
for
off this week.
punishment.
I mean, for the fifth time, I mean, at this point, there should be no surprises. So I'm going to get us started off this week, though, with a very important question. Which Looney Tunes character would give the best TED Talk, and what would be the topic? Because I'm going
So
to tell
I
you what
think
mine will
Bugs
be.
Bunny will give the best TED Talk, okay?
Oh, you think
And the
so? Okay.
topic, yes, and the topic will be um, how to influence friends and win over enemies.
I think he would give a quite twist on it. Mine is different. Mine would be Sylvester the cat and would be what failure taught me about B2B sales because Sylvester could really understand that. And he could bring up his friend Wile E. Coyote to also talk about that as well because those guys have been screwed over by the corporations that they have patronized many, many times. I got to thinking about that the other day because I got into a mood and Tubi, the greatest streaming service, has Looney Tunes through the decades on their platform. And I just started watching some of them and I thought, I wonder which one of these guys would give the best TED Talk. And no, I was not under the influence of anything. I was just laying there watching Looney Tunes and thought of that. So, okay, I like yours, Bugs will work, but I'd still go with Sylvester with a tag in for Wiley.
I will say this though. I do find it very interesting that they are finally releasing the Wile E. Coyote versus Acme movie.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. The one that was going to be the
he
tax
could,
write-off for the studio.
um, but I think a lot of them could give good TED Talks. I mean, I would hear what Yosemite Sam has to say about oppression, and how violence plays an outsized role in our society. I mean, there's a lot of options, a lot of depth there, Jay.
It could be a lot of things going on. Daffy Duck is how to be a good friend to the alpha, because he definitely knows how to play that role. I don't know that we would want Pepe Le Pew's dating advice. That would be kind of problematic, I think, these days. But
Yeah, I
just
think
put that
Harvey
out there.
Weinstein's booked, so I don't know anything about
Yeah,
Pepe.
yeah, that's yeah. So let's move off of that topic before it gets any more icky. So you have a
All
big
right.
one here, I think.
I
So
do have a big one, Jay. We've kicked around some of these things, but I want you and I to go through here and rank the villains from the Die Hard movie series, okay? So we're gonna start at five and work our way to one, okay? And we're gonna go back and forth. If you need a reminder, the villains are Die Hard 1, Hans Gruber, Die Hard 2, Colonel Stewart, Die Hard 3, Peter Crete, also known as Peter Simon Gruber. Die Hard 4, which I think was Live Free or Die Hard, which was
or
Thomas
4.0,
Gabriel.
depending on which cut you got. Yeah.
And then, what was it, the last one? A Good Day to Die Hard with Ivan and Victor Shagarin. By the way, I
Mhm.
forgot this movie existed until I started putting together this topic.
And you should. So, all right. I don't think there's any. Do you want to do? Let's do it bottom to top. I think that's
Yeah, yeah,
simpler.
that's what I said.
Yeah, yeah. Ivan and Victor. That movie shouldn't exist. So that's to me is the floor.
It
The just
really
the
shouldn't. I don't know why they made
Mhm.
that movie. I guess they were just trying to make money. Um,
Cash, my friend. That is why. So yeah.
Cash is king, but yeah, that was a bad movie. And like, yeah,
Look,
it was bad.
Bruce himself has said, giving younger actors, advice: find yourself a Rocky. Every time Stallone needed money, he made a Rocky. Every time I needed a little money, I made a Die Hard. And look, it works, bro. So it's sad to see Bruce in the shape he's in now. I hope he's resting well. But yeah, that movie's
All right,
terrible. So
number four, okay. You and I are probably going to disagree. I think it's Colonel Stewart, and I'll say it for this reason, okay? All he was trying to do was free a dictator. At least these other three guys on the list were trying to steal some money, trying to have a real caper, trying to cause some chaos. He was just trying to free a dictator.
like I'm gonna actually agree with you on this, and here's why. Not only was he trying to free a dictator, he was trying to free the most interesting man in the world, or Django, OG Django, if you know, and he was enlisting the dad from Good Times to help him do it, and a bunch of idiots in an airport. So yeah. Now look, I like Rennie Harlan movies, not that one, and that one is terrible. So no, Die Hard 2 is the prime example of we had this massive hit. Now let's do the cheesed out sequel. It's the Jurassic Park 3. It's you can just go down the list of these things. It's the Terminator 4 one, which
Ooh,
is
that one was
dumb but
bad.
fun, but it's dumb. Yeah, Colonel Stewart's my fourth as well. We
All
agree on
right, well,
this.
who you got at three?
Simon Gruber, actually, I love Die Hard with a Vengeance, mostly because Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis really carried that movie well. But I didn't feel like Jeremy Irons was doing a whole lot more than just repeating a riff, and he gets a lame ending. Like the director's cut ending where he gets shot with a rocket, and I don't feel bad about spoiling a movie that old here. It was way darker, but way cooler than John McClane taking a 38 snub nose and shooting a helicopter down. It's like Grand Theft Auto or something. It was dumb. He had a dumb motivation. He was always spouting off these goofy lines. I did not find I love Jeremy Irons, but I did not find him to be very interesting. The thing that makes that movie work is again Samuel L. Jackson, and honestly the cadre of cops played by character actors that you know from other things are great in that movie. They actually do like real cop work. It's kind of wild, but the villain is lame. So I'm gonna put Gruber third.
So I'm going Thomas Gabriel, okay? And
Mhm.
here's why, okay? I'll get to why I think Simon Gruber is better. But Thomas Gabriel, he was a good villain. His motivations were a little wacky. I love Timothy Olyphant. I think he's a fantastic actor. I just
Mhm.
feel like the villain didn't really have like a lot of depth, and he was just really annoyed with John McClane. Now he did come up with increasingly interesting ways to try to kill McClane that didn't work, which actually made the movie pretty awesome. The whole calling in F 22s when McClane's driving the big rig and blowing up the freeway, that's really a cool sequence. But Oliphant and Thomas Gabriel come in at three on my list.
All right. So then who do you have at two?
At two, I have Simon Gruber, and this is why, okay? The acting and the arc of the villain was not great, but the creativity it came up with to put on this Simon Says game with John McClane while trying to rob the Federal Reserve of $14 billion in gold. That's a
Billion
lot of
dollars.
money. Yes, billion.
Yeah.
The fact that he went big, um, and came up with increasingly interesting ways to like keep McLean busy. Um, by the way, the whole like you have a 5 gallon jug and a 3 gallon jug, and you need 4 gallons of water. That's an interesting thought exercise if you really look at it.
Oh, I've seen so many like people solve that and talk about how to do that. It is a good logic puzzle. That's for sure. So.
But yeah, so Peter Crete slash Peter Simon Gruber is number two.
So Thomas Gabriel's my two, and it's all because Timothy Olyphant is awesome, and I liked the kind of
He
the
is.
tech bro as the villain in a action movie kind of way. I mean that movie's dumb, but for the same reasons that I can watch something like Jaws 3D, which is also dumb, I can enjoy it because it's just a disaster movie waiting to happen again, and that's all Die Hard 4 is. Plus Mary Elizabeth Winstead's great as McClane's daughter. I mean I I kind of like Die Hard 4. Everybody hated it when it came out. I was like, yeah, it ain't that bad. I mean, what'd you expect, man? But I like Oliphant. I'll watch him do anything. I'll tell you one of my favorite performances of his is in the remake of Gone in 60 Seconds. Him and Delroy Lindo are awesome as cops together. I wanted like a side movie of them or a show that they could be in, because they are great in that, and he's incredible. And of course, he's had a long and illustrious acting career. Everybody tells me I need to watch Justified. I just haven't done it, but
You
I
do.
I hear
You
he's
do.
incredible in that. I wouldn't
That
doubt it.
first season is maybe a little rough, but when the character development takes over in the second season, my wife and I actually just rewatched it because we had nothing to watch, and I forgot how good it is. And Walter got, is it
Yeah,
Walter Goggins?
Walton Goggins. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
Walton Goggins.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
I mean, I've
Like,
never seen him in anything bad, so yeah. So
well,
I
so
need to give it another shot because those are two of my favorite character actors anyway. But I love Oliphant, and I think he's fun. So we obviously both have Hans as number one. So tell me why Hans Booby is your number one.
first of all, how can you beat the OG gangster?
Yeah.
I mean, Jay, all he wanted to do was steal $600 million in negotiable bearer bonds and earn 20% and sit on a beach. But the reason why Hans is number one is because he was a gentleman first. He liked fine suits and the industrial complex, but also he had the best getaway plan. He was going to
Mm.
blow up the building and make everybody think he was dead because he says, if they're dead, if they think you're dead, they're not going to come look for you.
Yeah, or until they figure out that you're not, it'll be too late, especially in the late 80s, when that was happening. I remember that first Die Hard, because it was just such a smart movie, smart script. It was when we made smart action movies before they became franchises and stuff. And just everything about it works. And Alan Rickman, went on to have an incredible career, had already had a great stage career up to that point. And the fact that that introduced us American audiences to him, I think is great. And that he never shied away from it. That he apparently loved it when people, talked to him about, being Hans. And he also had the best henchmen around him by far of any of these movies. Like he had the best lackeys.
I
Alexander
mean, is anybody
Godunov.
better than Carl?
I mean, look, Carl is a trained, ballet dancer, but he's also one of the baddest action dudes of all time. That tells you how cool that dude is. What an incredible performance, and everybody in that movie's great, and it works because John McClane is not a superhero. He's just a dude. In a wife beater with no shoes and socks, and it works. It totally works. So, yeah.
And what's the dad from Family Matters? Reginald Van
Vel Johnson. Yeah. So yeah,
Bell
yeah,
Johnson. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
he was great.
Hmm.
That was just a fantastic movie. And
Yeah, everything about that worked. Yeah, it was a great script, and I mean, I know they hammered the stew out of it, but you give a lot of credit to that to John McTiernan, who's one of our greater directors of that era. I mean, he brought us Predator, Hunt for Red October. Those are three big. If those were the only three things he ever did, that would be incredible. But of course, he gave us a lot more. But those
by the way, I'm
three.
going to say this: the second Predator is underrated.
You know what? It's not bad. It's all right. It's a very sweaty Danny Glover, but it works. So I think it's been reappraised. Like movie Twitter's decided that's okay. So I mean, compared to most of the Predator movies, like it's real good. The only other the remotely good one that's a sequel is the Prey one that they had no
Mm.
faith in and they dumped on Hulu and they should have put in a theater because it was awesome. Amber Midthunder rules, by the way. So, all right, my turn now. And this is going to be more of I'm going to give a treatise here. This is my TED Talk, and then you could respond to it. We wrapped up the College World Series, a month or so back, and I enjoyed the heck out of watching that. I like watching college baseball, but it teaches us a lesson about the upcoming expanded college football playoff. And don't be mistaken, we're not sitting at 12 teams, maybe one more year. We're getting 16 and 24 pretty quick. And what it teaches you is that the best team doesn't necessarily win the tournament. It's the most healthy team that gets hot at the right time. Oklahoma had a losing record in the conference. they were one and done in their conference tournament because they realized doesn't matter. We got enough metrics. We're getting in. And you know what? They rested their dudes. They got their dudes healthy in their regional through the super regional, and they were as hot as a firecracker going into that tournament. And look, they met an incredible pitching staff and that ace that North Carolina has. That I don't know what kind of NL they dumped on him to get him to come back. But even that dude didn't scare them. They hit him out of the park too. And the fact that they blasted them in the deciding game, that was as decisive a championship win I've ever seen. But don't be surprised. I know we had it the first year, but the seedings were all goofed up, in the first year of the playoff. In a couple of years, when the 10 seed plays the 15 seed in the championship game, because they're the only ones that still had their quarterbacks healthy, or some other key player, or their defense wasn't completely shredded into oblivion by playing 18 games or whatever they're going to get to. It's going to be something like that, and people will get their feelings hurt about it. But this is what you get with expanded playoffs.
Well, I'm going to look to the NFL for guidance on this. First of all, I know we've had at least two six seeds win the Super
Hmm.
Bowl. I know the Packers and the Steelers both wanted as six seeds because they got hot at the right time. Their quarterback
Hmm.
was hot, the team was healthy, and they managed to string together some wins. And the great Bill Parcells said the goal is to make the tournament and then to
Hmm.
win in advance. And when you get into a tournament situation, specifically a win or go home, uh, funky things happen. We used to say on the Gridiron Breakdown, that ball is pointed on both ends and it bounces weird sometimes. Um,
Yes, yes, it does.
so yeah, I mean, I think you will see a double digit seed win. Because I think with the way things are now, um, you may see some teams willing to take losses. Um, Okay, let's say Ohio State's quarterback is dinged up, and they're already sitting at say 9-0 or 8-1. Maybe they think, what, we can sit this guy on the bench for a week or two, still make the playoff, and he'll be healthy instead of rushing him back and him getting re-injured or only being at 75% and playing
Hmm.
subpar. So I think you will see some calculations along that line at some point because no longer do you have to win all your games, or even 11 games, or even 10 games.
Yeah, I think 10
Um,
right now seems to be the line of demarcation, but when we expand that playoff, that it's going to drop. You're going to get a nine, and you're going to get an argument for a team that's got 8 wins, but they're eight of the quote right wins, end quote, and it's going to get it in the tournament, and then they're going to win a game, and it's going to make everybody mad. But it's how it goes in tournament play. Uh,
all right, Jay, I have an interesting topic, okay?
mhm.
Um, Brett Goldstein. Are you aware of who Brett Goldstein
Yeah,
is?
you're talking about Roy Kent from Ted Lasso. That's what I know him as.
Roy
So,
Kent from Ted Lasso. Fabulous in Ted Lasso. Great
mhm.
show. If you're one of the
Awesome
five
show.
people on the planet who've not seen Ted Lasso, you need to watch it.
Hmm.
But he also did a stand-up on HBO, and he is the co-lead in a rom-com with J-Lo called Office Romance. Brett Goldstein needs to be in more things. He is funny. He is charismatic. And he always has that dry humor and that it just works so well in comedy. Like his stand-up was actually really funny. Like I saw, like he's doing a stand-up, and I watched it and I laughed. He needs to be in more things.
You know what? I would agree with this, and I think he's getting to be in more things. I like him a lot. I equate him to Adam Devine. If you haven't seen him and stuff,
Mm.
he's an incredible comic, and it's very funny to talk about his own career. Most people know him from the Pitch Perfect movies and stuff, which is where I found him first. But he talks about how he got that gig, and it was a real accident how he did it because he thought it was a baseball movie, and he showed up in full gear. You see nobody giving him the script. He's like, "Oh, we're singing." Oh, and he had to do all that. But I think he's funny too. But no, I like a Brett Goldstein. I'm down for this. So
Have you
he
seen
is in a
Office
lot of
Romance
things.
yet?
I have not. It's on the list of things because you've recommended it, but it's I've been kind of piling through a lot of stuff and had to get through my summer rewatch season, and I've been getting ready for the Odyssey, and I've seen that a bunch now. So, and of course, I'm obsessed with Obsession, like everyone who's seen it is. So, I will watch Office Romance if you'll watch Obsession. How about that? So
Okay.
we'll talk about those. So, all right. So, what is something? It doesn't have to be a movie. It could be anything. What is something that you like that no one you know does, but you will still defend it?
Mm. I think I'm gonna harken back to the previous episode, but the A-Team movie, I don't know anybody who likes it, and I'm willing to plant my flag on that hill. That is a great movie, and they should have made a sequel. I know you're like the OG A-Team, but
Hmm.
Bradley Cooper is Face, and I don't even remember the guy who played Hal and Mad Murdock, but he pulled it off. He was crazy. It just worked. I love that movie. Nobody else does. I own that movie on Amazon.
That's fair. That's fair. So I'm going to go different than movies. I'm going to do something in music. And I like a lot of hair bands, and I make no apologies for that. And I know they're cool again or whatever, but there's one that I love that I will never apologize for. And it was a band called Vixen. And I know they're still kind of around, but it's basically just the drummer and three other people now because the guitar players passed away and the singer and the bass player retired. The OG Vixen was awesome. One, they all looked great. Two, they could sing and they could play everything. They sounded great. Go dig up their old live stuff. They were really good. And they came out at a time when that was starting to wane. And also being women in that field, it was hard to get attention other than just being, oogle, eye candy. And then the grunge thing came and just, wrecked all of that stuff. But I love Vixen. I will defend them. Their second album is amazing. Everybody knows Edge of a Broken Heart, but to me, they had so many cool things out there, and I was just a big fan of theirs. I remember buying a cassette of the Rev It Up album, which came out in like 1990, and had a great song on it called "How Much Love." It's a killer tune. Go check it out. But I recommend that one. I like Vixen, and I'll make no apologies for it.
So, Jay, for my segment, um, I am pulling back the video game reviews for this one.
Okay.
Um, so, if you've been living under a rock, College Football 27 is dropping. I've been able to play it, and I've seen a lot of streamers and a lot of these people online giving it just hate. But dude, this game is incredible. The running mechanics are fabulous. The lanes are naturally there. The passing game feels very natural. Um, and I've had trouble finding plays to spam to just like there's always
Hmm.
plays I can get. It's like, oh, I can get a first down on this play. And I can get a first down one time and I can't get a first down the second time. The macros you can set on your defenders to roll coverage in bunch sets or when they're doing stacks to prevent picks. EA, you nailed it, and I know you're going to make it better. But this game is getting a lot of hate for no reason. It is awesome. You need to check it out and convince Jay to play in an online dynasty with me and Brian.
It it is getting a lot of hate because streamers want to fast track their streaming content to upgrade players, and they're like, "Oh, it's all microtransactions," when it's actually not true. One of them did come out and say, "If you just practice every week with the guy, you can build him up pretty fast." But they all want to be on level 900 at the beginning, and you can't slide and do it. I have played it a little bit, and I want to tell you. I think it is a vast improvement over the last one because of all the things you said. It feels much more natural. There's a flow to the game. If you see an open lane, you can hit it. With a guy, I had my running back drop about 300 yards on App State because put that in your pipe and smoke it yourself, because that's what we do up here. But I thought it was great, but I would have never been able to do that last year. I would have gotten one good run a game, because I was on a quote, lesser team. Well, now you actually play to your competition. And it's much more realistic. I'm still figuring out the passing stuff. The defensive stuff is way lost on me. I'm gonna have to really work on it to get good at it before I ever go and get destroyed by you in some kind of online dynasty. But I found it to be good too. So I'm glad you're putting it
Well,
over, and
and
everybody needs to
the
chill out on that. Yeah.
realism,
Hmm.
I had a play earlier today. It was fourth down. I called a play that I could always score a first down. I knew it was there, but I was
Yeah.
playing in the rain, and I went to make a cut, and it had been raining, and my guy slipped, and so he slowed down just for that split second to allow the defender to make the tackle. The realism is off the chart. They
Yep.
have done a phenomenal job. I'm beyond happy with this game.
I'll tell you the thing I'm really happy with that they fixed is that quarterback sneaks are not automatic. I called one on a fourth and
Yes.
inches and I saw what was about to happen. And I was like, oh, no, no, no. Audibled into the dive and then watch that middle linebacker come free and kill my running back. I was like, well, so it's just like watching real football. Like, it's pretty amazing how good they've dialed it up. So, yeah, no, we're in agreement on that. That's a really well made game. Everybody needs to chill out about it. Speaking of football, that's our creator spotlight of the week. These guys talk about everything, but we're going to put a little light, not that they need it, but on Longshore and McKnight. Now, if you're in the Alabama area, you know those guys are Montgomery radio legends. They were on the air together for almost 30 years, but radio stupidity forced them to get off of that. Well, now they're on YouTube. They also have the podcast form, but they got a great YouTube channel. And every day during the week from 7 a.m. Central to 9 a.m. Central, they're doing their show. And if you like good football banter, John Longshore, Barry McKnight are your people. They bring on guests. They have people talk about it. The only thing they can't do is take callers anymore, but they don't really need them because it's all in the chat and they react to it and have fun. And Barry McKnight is a longtime friend of ours and has done a lot of things, podcasts with us through the years and still get a chance to talk with him every now and then. But I thought, you know what? Hey, it's football season or it's about to be football season here pretty soon. You want to start getting yourself ready, particularly if you're an SEC fan. Longshore and McKnight needs to be in your weekly digest.
Yeah, I mean Barry McKnight has that golden voice.
Oh, yeah.
It is just amazing, and his knowledge of football is just second to none. Really, it is incredible.
Really of all sports in particular. He's great in baseball and basketball, but Barry is also the voice of the Troy Trojans, we should say. So if you ever get a chance to watch Troy, mute the television and go to Varsity Network app and find Barry and just listen to Barry and then realize that your play-by-play guy sucks because Barry's the best one in the business. And so by far. So
By the way, if I have to listen to Joe Tessitore more than once this season, I may like lose what's left of my hair.
I recommend muting and just syncing it with Chris Stewart, who is really good, by the way. I prefer him
He is. I like
on the
Chris.
Alabama stuff. Chris is good. So, but hey, you know what? It's been good talking about all these things with you all. It's been fun talking about this definitive diehard villains rankings list, among other things, this week. And you never know what will happen on the next episode of the Rebel Authority. So find the show on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. Spread the word. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Share the show as well. We appreciate the support. So tune in next time when Alan might say,
Yippee-ki-yay.
Welcome to the place where the takes are hot and the facts are optional. Where logic takes a back seat and the changes are unstoppable. It's the show